we do in life echoes in eternity.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, this is James Laid Out. My guest is Rudy Becerra.
What's up, guys? I'm Rudy, most commonly known as Jiu-Jitsu House. I am a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I am a firefighter paramedic, and excited to have this conversation today.
Cool.
I try to compete in Jiu-Jitsu once a month, twice a month, if possible, but once a month is optimal. And because of that, I have to stay at weight. So I can't eat fried. I can't eat burritos. I can't do it. I lose my body, I lose my weight, and then I have to fight dudes your size, and that's not fun for me. Like it doesn't become like something I'm interested in doing. So a lot of times these guys will see me making some recipes that are just as tasty, but maybe a lot healthier. Like, hey, maybe instead of using, like beef and potatoes for your burrito, maybe you can make some ground turkey with sweet potato, and maybe you don't have to use a tortilla, right? Like, so they'll see that, and they'll just develop some interest, and maybe they can become healthier themselves as well. And as far as like my family will constantly ask me for recipes, and when I tell them, okay, well look, I'll write you a diet. This is what I gotta eat, and I tell them I eat this, or this. If it's not on that list, you can't eat it. Then automatically it's, oh, I don't want it. It's hard. I don't want to do it. So people look at it and they just immediately give up on themselves. And I think that's like a common problem, I think.
And I think it has to do with we're eating this super palatable food that tastes amazing. So like, we're not able to like realize like, when you're hungry, you'll almost eat anything and it tastes delicious when your body needs it. But if you're eating just to eat, you need that super palatable. There's always room for donuts. There's always room for donuts. But when you're eating and you eat for necessity, I bet when you eat that sweet potato and ground turkey, it tastes like a donut to someone else because your body needs it. Right. And I think we're like, oh, like we're searching for taste when it's just like, well, if we work out hard enough, the food's gonna even taste better.
Right.
So
like right now that I've been cutting weight, I've just been maintaining weight. I haven't had pizza in a while, right? So the thought of having pizza this weekend for me is something that I look forward to. And I think for me that adds value to the meal, because people who constantly eat cheat meals, like one cheat meal after another cheat meal after another cheat meal, they lose value now. And then it just doesn't taste the same. So like to me, a pizza, I appreciate it because I don't have it as much. Is it great? Do I wish I could have it every day? Yeah, like everyone else who doesn't like pizza. But I mean, you have to, like I said earlier, everything's got to be in moderation. Everything from drinking to even your food intake, everything.
Yeah. I mean, and I think like that has to do a lot with health, and there's all these things, and diet, it's as hard as you make it. If you say it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. But I think you do it for like, you have something to shoot for. And I think we have to have goals in life. And I think, we get older and it's like, oh no, we don't have goals. Like we kind of settle, we get our job and we get stagnant and we don't try to improve. And I think we're too nice to each other saying like, you know what, like you're doing great. It's like, no, but you can do better. I think a lot of people, they look good in their 20s and what does it go? It goes downhill from there. And it's like, why? I'm in better shape than I was when I was 20. I'm a better person than when I was 20. Yes, I have to work. I have to do a lot of stuff to get to where I am, but I'm healthier and I'm even, and it's not that hard to maintain it too. As long as you do a little bit each year, it's better than trying to do it all in one weekend.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people go to the extreme. It's like, oh, I went from donuts to, chicken and broccoli. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's not sustainable too. Like, just like you said, you have pizza. Like, every once in a while, it's okay to have that. And it even helps you, right? Probably after you have that pizza, you feel like Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, so it's like you said, right? So like baby steps, changing your eating habits, baby steps. So like when people say, I do this diet, I know you're gonna fail. I know you are, because a diet is short term. It's something that you're gonna do. And once you reach whatever goal it is, maybe you wanted to lose 15 pounds, then you're gonna just lose it. So it's gonna have to come down to you changing your life habits. What are you eating every day? That's what's gonna make the long-term sustainable difference. And the crash diets, like I do that, I have to do them sometimes. If I lose control of my diet and I have to make weight the following week, I feel miserable. And it's just not fun. And I can see why people just give up on trying to lose weight and be healthier.
And I think but it also goes with your circle. And sometimes in trying to get healthier, you're going to lose some friends. And it sucks, but it's either, you know, maybe they're not your friends if they don't allow you to be healthier and let you be a better person, you know. And I think that's very important, you know, just to notice your circle, because your circle can make you better, it can make you weaker, you know. And sometimes I think like people don't want you doing better than them in society. Like if you start losing weight, then you make them feel bad, and it's like, oh, they'll even like sabotage you in a way, which is unfair. How did your fitness career start?
So fitness started just because I wanted to get into the fire academy, and I wanted to meet like the standards. And I didn't want to just meet like the minimum standards. At the time, you had to run like 3 miles in like 26 minutes or something like that. And then you also had to do like an entrance exam. You had to do the firefighter combat challenge, which they really don't do this stuff anymore. I mean, they do the entrance exam, but not the 3-mile run anymore. And so I just kind of started getting in shape so that I could meet those standards. And once I was in paramedic school, I met a doctor. She was a bodybuilder. Her name was Margaret. But Margaret was a bodybuilder, and I remember she was like intubating a patient, and she looked at me and she said, "Hey, you have like a decent body. Have you ever considered bodybuilding?" And I said, "No, I don't even know what that is. You might want to look into it." So from there, I just started looking into it. And again, I told some guys at work that, "Hey, this doctor said I could probably be a bodybuilder." And they said, "No, you don't have the genetics for it." So I went on this journey to prove that maybe I don't, but I definitely have the hard work to become a bodybuilder. So yeah, I did bodybuilding from like 2011 to 2014, 15.
But I wanted to brush up on jiu-jitsu right now. You know, like I talked to you earlier, to be a fighter, to be a basic fighter, how long would it take for someone right up, like just an athletic person, to become a fighter, a jiu-jitsu fighter?
Well, to become a jiu-jitsu fighter, you have to spend, I would say, about a year to a year and a half before you kind of understand a little bit of how you're getting beat up, right? Because like your whole first year, you're just gonna get beat up. Like everyone's gonna show, everyone from the girls to the kids. I mean, there's some kids that'll come in and they'll demolish you because you don't know how helpless you are until you realize that you're absolutely helpless against someone who knows what they're doing. Now, as far as being competent and just confident in your own skills, I would say if you mix a year of maybe some Muay Thai with some Jiu-Jitsu, maybe 2-3 classes a week, I think that would give you the confidence to walk into any situation and feel that you can control yourself. I mean, and this is just in a hypothetical event where there's like no knives coming out, no handguns, right? Because I mean, we can go hand to hand all day, but if you pull out a handgun, then my jiu-jitsu training I'm just praying for the best at that point.
You know, and then one thing, you know, a lot of things in the news is the police brutality. And I think it has to go with their education and how we expect these police officers to be able to handle a situation with a gun, a knife, fight someone, and do all this stuff. And we only give them a small window of time that they learn the laws and even like CPR and all this medical experience. And I think we set them up for failure because they don't have that education. If it takes about a year and a half for me just to control someone with my hands, how long should it take me to control someone with a gun or control someone with a knife? You know, and I think that's why these police officers are being more brutal or using excessive forces, maybe using a gun when not needed because they don't have that experience on how to subdue a criminal.
So like I respond, right? I respond to a lot of these calls where I do see police kind of trying to control a situation that they are not very well equipped to control. And sometimes, even though the situation looks bad to the outside public, I understand why they're doing it, right? And so when you talk about setting up police for failure, first of all, I think being a police officer right now, I'm not a police, I would never want that job. But I think being a police officer right now, like you're already at a negative, you know, because when you show up, people are already like almost aggressive towards them, you know, and the fact that they don't have any jiu-jitsu, well, I mean, they have like some combative training, but I don't think they have enough. And I've always pushed for it, you know, we at the gym that I train at City Wolves, we even offer like a first responder discount just to try to get these guys in the door, you know. And we could only hope that they take it upon themselves, because the city, I just don't see them really investing, you know, hey, come on in for an extra 2-3 hours of training after your shift, or come on in and after, during your academy, we'll take time away from the laws. Because like you said, you know, being there for whatever amount of time they're there, they have a whole curriculum they have to complete. It's not just the laws. It's not just being able to maintain composure in a stressful situation. There's a lot that they really have to deal with. So I think the solution, my personal opinion, is to get them the training that they need, but it's gonna be up to them. They have to come in. They have to just really understand that, hey, maybe I can use a little bit more training. And it goes beyond me just saying. It's like a situation where you have to get past your pride, you know, because I had to get past my pride. When I started jiu-jitsu, I was like 185, so I was like much bigger, and I got totally demolished by this dude who was like 130 pounds, and he did whatever he wanted to me. And that's when I understood how helpless I was. If this guy is 130 pounds and I can bench 315 and I can't push this guy off of me, maybe I need to figure out what I have to do so that I can keep my composure and I can defend myself in these types of situations. So with that thought, you know, that same thought process, I think if these police officers kind of just tried to get a little bit more training, it would be beneficial to them in these high stress situations, and it would also look better in the public perspective, you know, because does it look good? And I've done these videos before where cops show up and they're like just beating up on some guys, not the cops here in the city, but like, I mean, I do videos on all the police officers, right? And they're just like beating up on dudes, like throwing open hands, and it's like, okay, you're doing the job, I get it. But would it look better if you just controlled him, took him to the ground, and put some cuffs on him? Yeah, that's obviously what the people would prefer to see. You know, no one needs to get hurt. No one needs to get punched in the face or kicked in the, I mean, nothing, you know?
Yeah, and I think it goes down a lot of it on education. You know, you know, we have to keep educating ourselves. I think once you get into a particular job, you have to keep on improving. Like, I'm a nurse. Like, I don't just like allow myself to be, I keep on reading, you know, and I make myself a better nurse. I mean, yes, technically under the law, I don't need to go back to school. I have to take my continuing education, but I don't have to learn as much as I do. And I think any career, we need to keep educating so you can be a better person. And I think especially with these kind of jobs where your life is on the line, you know, and your life is on the line for other people as well, their safety. You know, I think with such a high stress job, you know, I've noticed a lot of firefighters, police officers, border patrol, and these jobs, a lot of these people in these jobs are needing TRT therapy. You know, and I think we have to have that open-mindedness to getting blood work and all that stuff. Have you noticed like an improvement on like maybe your coworkers or people out in the field using TRT, or the benefits or the negative side effects to them?
So what I have noticed is a bit more of an open mind to it. At minimum, now it's a conversation, right? You can go to your doctor, you can get some labs, and your doctor will say, hey, you know what? No, dude, you are okay. Maybe all you need to do is work on your diet. Or maybe all you need to do is get some more rest. Unfortunately for us, the way our shifts work, we work 24-hour shifts. Most fire departments work 24-hour shifts. You're not guaranteed sleep. There's going to be some times that you're going to have to run. So it's going to be up to you to go and get that help. Go talk to a doctor and say, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling right. Is it something that maybe my body needs medicinally? Or is it something that I need to change on myself? Is it my eating habits? Is it my resting habits? Or is it something that I'm doing on my days off? Maybe I'm not resting the way I should be. So, I mean, at minimum now, health is more of a conversation than it has been traditionally in the past.
Now, you're a pretty healthy guy. What do you do to stay so healthy?
I train 2 to 3 times a day. Even on the days that I work, I train before I go to work. On my days off, I train as soon as I get off. I'll go home, I'll shower, do some cardio, and then usually I will train my son. So you were talking about how we, you know, most parents don't have that time. Unfortunately, I don't have, my son is like 17, you know, so like the things that I have in common with him are like, I got to make the best of what I've got. and he's 17. He enjoys the gym. He's like a nice little stacked dude. He's about 160 right now. So my job is to like educate them. And as I'm educating them, I'm also getting some reps in. So I train a lot. I try to eat as healthy as possible, simply because I know that genetically, my background does have some, like my ancestors, my grandparents, they have some health issues that I don't want to have, or I want to avoid as much as I possibly can.
What kind of health issues, if you don't mind me asking?
So like diabetes, hypertension, obviously these are issues that they can help themselves, and they probably could have been prevented with a little bit more education if they would have known how to eat healthier, and they maybe would have spent a little bit more time in the gym. But I don't know if they would have had that option, because I come from like a poor background. Everyone had to work. Maybe some people don't have the time to go to the gym, but that extra education on, okay, maybe you don't have the time to go to the gym. Do you have time to go for a 20-minute walk? Do you have time to, instead of making a burrito, maybe you can make some grilled chicken with vegetables?
Yeah.
Can you do that, right? But we didn't have that education. So I know that it does run in my family. I'd like to prevent it as much as I possibly can. And if I can do it with diet and taking care of myself, then...
So basically, you don't have any medical issues like diabetes, hypertension?
I don't.
So basically, you've shown that even if you have a genetic factor, you can combat that. You just have to have that willingness and that passion to do it. Because it sounds like you have a very hectic life, because you have a full-time job. You sound like you're a pretty good dad. You work out 2 to 3 times. You work 2 to 3 times a day. You have a social life, and then you have a really, really good Instagram. So it's like you make time. So in a way, like, I don't think that's an excuse enough sometimes, with giving people that excuse, like there is time. You show a perfect example is a person that has no time making time,
Right, so it comes down to like time management. Like I was actually even here a couple minutes early and late, and I apologize, right? Because my training everything is scheduled. I like to be very structured in how my day is gonna go, and sometimes even like my girlfriend is like, do you really need to know exactly what time? Yes, I need you to tell me at what time we're gonna be there and at what time we're gonna be done, so that I can schedule my life around it, And even the same thing with my kids. I need to know time so that I can time training, even rest. Like I wanna be able to factor in what are the hours that I'm gonna be able to rest. When can I lay down? Like everyone else, I wanna sit down, watch a movie. I recently watched a movie that was the worst movie ever. It was called, I can't remember the movie. It was with Johnny Depp. It was, I'll remember the name of the movie. It was so bad, but like the fact that I got a chance to sit down and watch this miserable movie and waste 2 hours of my life, I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think like we've gotten so used to watching TV like all the time that maybe like that's the one thing people can cut out from their life. Like people say they have a busy life, but they spend 20 hours a week watching TV. That 20 hours a week, you can meal prep, work out, and still watch 10 hours of TV. Or you can watch your TV while you're on the treadmill. I think people don't see how much TV takes away from them.
TV and social media,
yes.
Because how many times have you been like on your phone and like my notifications are not on. Like my notifications are ridiculous. So like I turn them off, because if I open it up to like some random stranger in Europe, like your post, I'll open it, and then I'll click on my home, and then I probably won't even look at it. I'll look at like my Explore page, and then before I know it, it's been like 2 hours, and I'm like, I just wasted time, So like I try to manage my time. So even when I post content on social media, I don't know if you've noticed it, but if you look at my posts, I will go on, I will drop whatever content I need to drop, and then that's it. I'm not gonna go back, and if there's someone who wants to argue with me, and it's like, no, dude, like I already said what I needed to say. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it. I'm just not gonna argue with you. That's it, So I have posts that are a bit controversial, like I've called people out. I recently called out a specific firefighter from like, she was like in New Zealand, or I don't know, somewhere in Australia. I don't know where she was at, but where she was trying to normalize being weak. And I was completely against that. I made this video where I was like, hey, you know what? I don't think it's appropriate for you to be normalizing that mindset. Your job as a firefighter is to help people. So you should be in shape. You should be strong. And if you're not, you should be working towards it. You shouldn't just accept it. And so when I made that video, a lot of people got into the comment section and wanted to argue with me. And I was like, dude, I already said what I had to say. What am I going to say to you? If that didn't change your mind, me arguing with you in the comments is definitely not going to change your mind. So let it be, you know?
And I think one of the things with society is we become too sensitive. You know, it's okay to tell someone that they're not doing good, that they can be better. You know, we need to be more open-minded and not just be like, you know, trying to fight. You know, because I think people saw that, you know, post and it made them feel bad about themselves. But if that post made them feel bad about themselves, maybe that's more of a showing them their faults, not your fault. Because what you said was true. If I'm like in a burning building and I'm like with a broken leg, I need someone to help me out. You know, it's not my fault I got in that situation. I didn't choose to break my leg or whatever, or be, you know, I don't think anyone chooses to be in these situations that you help them.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I think it comes down to like, we're in a generation where everyone is so focused on being happy. Everyone wants to be happy with everything, and there's nothing wrong with it, dude, you know, but being happy has nothing to do with still knowing you can do more. Yeah, you can be happy. Am I happy with my job? Yeah, I'm happy. Do I know I can be better? Yeah. Do I know that I can achieve a higher rank? Do I know that I can become a better paramedic? Do you know that you can become a better nurse? Yeah, I mean, there's levels to everything, and there's nothing wrong with being happy where you are in life. But once you reach a point where you say, I'm happy and I don't need to do anything else, I think that's when you start running into problems. And that's when you start running into health problems, because you become stagnant and you stop working towards anything. That's where depression sets in, because maybe that feeling of being happy, it no longer comes to you, you know? It doesn't grow anymore. You felt it once and that's it, because you stopped moving. That was on you, you know?
And I think that's a really good thing you brushed up on. We have to keep moving. Our body's meant to move. And I think like a lot of the times you're called on people that fall, you know, and I think people fall and they, you know, get hurt at home doing simple things because each day they do a little less and a little less and a little less. And I think especially in Hispanic culture, we do everything for our elderly. And like, oh no, I'll get your food. I'll do this for your loved one. And sometimes we have to step back and be like, you're taking away their freedom by doing everything for them, you know? And it sounds heartless. Like people think I'm a dick when I'm my dad. I tell him, no, go get up and get your stuff yourself, because I'm not going to be there all the time. And he needs to be able to do this. And it's basically functional exercise, you know, getting up, you know, standing up, getting something from the fridge. Something so small means the world to these elderly people, you know, and I think it's good to be there for these elderly people, but it's not good for us to do everything for them and them becoming weak and to being dependent on us. Because how often are you called in on someone falling?
Well, I think we have just such a wide range of calls, right? We have calls where people call us because, and I'm no one to judge, you know, their emergency to them is their emergency if they've fallen and for whatever reason they can't get up. But I mean, things happen, you know? So we're always there to help. We're always glad to help. Are there emergencies that people could definitely take care of themselves? Yeah, sure. I mean, but that, like I said, that's not my place to say, you know, if in doubt, always call. Try to get the help that you need. It's about all
I think we just need to like try to stay active. And that's just the goal, like I think, and I think you really brush up on that a lot. We're just about finishing up, but I would like, since you're really good at time management, what are some good tips for the people out there to, you know, schedule their time? Like you seem very good at time management.
I would say just write it down, you know, write it down and try to stick to your schedule. Try to stick to whatever times you said you were going to be there. If you said you're going to be there from this time to this time, then don't waste time, because that is just something you're never going to get back, right? We have the same 24 hours in a day. And if I run late on, for example, this podcast, if I run late, those hours are going to cut into my training time. That training time is going to cut into my kids' time. That kids' time is going to cut into my meal prep time. So you have to do your best to stay within the range of the parameters of the schedule you gave yourself. That's the best thing.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a great podcast. You have a nice day. Thank you.